Today we're diving into Grade 10, Chapter 5, featuring the poem, Mother Nature, by Emily Dickinson. In this video, we'll go through the complete, solved book exercises from page 68 to page 76, explained clearly and simply. Let's begin. Let's start with page 68. Let's explore the paragraph and dive deep into understanding points of view, author's purpose, analyzing perspective. So stay focused as we uncover the point of view and purpose behind the word. Now let's take a closer look at the extended reading on page 68. First, examine different points of view. First person, third person narrative. Answer. The story is written from two different points of view. The first part of the passage uses the first person point of view, where the boy tells the story using words like I and my. The second part uses a third person point of view, where the narrator tells us what Sarah, the waitress, sees and thinks, using words like she and her too. Determine the author's point of view or purpose in the text. Answer. The author's purpose is to show the power of kindness and how small, caring actions can bring hope and warmth to others. The author wants readers to understand that even when life is hard, choosing compassion can make a difference. Let's continue from next page. Now, let's move on to question 3. How does the author distinguish their position from that of others? Here's the answer. The author distinguishes his position by showing two different characters' experiences through different points of view. First, the author uses first-person narration to let the reader feel the inner conflict and emotions of the boy who chooses to help the elderly woman. Then, the author switches to third-person narration to show how Sarah, the waitress, views the boy's action from a distance. This shift helps the author present both the act of kindness and its effect on others, making it clear that the message of the story, that small acts of kindness can inspire and spread hope, is seen from multiple perspectives, not just one. This way, the author separates their message from the character's personal thoughts and shows a bigger, more meaningful lesson. Let's move on to section B, where we explore 3 important vocabulary concepts. First up, antonym. Next is denotation. And finally, understanding these differences helps us read more deeply and write more clearly. Now let's look at some words and their antonyms, or opposite meanings. Gentlest, the opposite is harshest. Gentle means soft and kind, while harsh is rough or severe. Impatient, the opposite is patient. An impatient person can't wait, but a patient person stays calm. Timid, the opposite is brave. Timid means shy or fearful, and brave means bold and courageous. Rampant, the opposite is controlled. Rampant means wild or out of control, while controlled means calm and managed. Infinite, the opposite is limited. Infinite means never-ending, but limited means there's a boundary or end. Learning antonyms helps us build a stronger vocabulary, and it makes our writing more powerful. Let's take a look at some common words and their denotations. That means their exact, literal meanings as you'd find in a dictionary. Aisles. These are the paths between rows of seats or shelves, like the spaces you walk through in a theater or a grocery store. Assembly. This means a group of people meeting together for a reason. For example, a school assembly, where students gather for announcements. Lamps. Simply put, these are objects that give light, like the ones we use at home or in the street. Sky. The space above the earth that you see when you look up. Whether it's sunny, cloudy, or full of stars, that's the sky. Silence. A time when there is no sound at all, just stillness and quiet. Understanding denotation helps us read clearly and interpret meanings accurately, especially when studying poetry or literature. Now let's explore connotation, the feeling or idea a word gives us, beyond just its dictionary meaning. Feeblest. This word feels very weak or helpless. It brings to mind someone fragile, struggling, or with very little strength. Impetuous. It feels quick, wild, or impulsive, like someone who acts without thinking. There's unpredictability and rush. Affection. This word feels warm, loving, and caring. It makes us think of hugs, kindness, or emotional closeness. Minutist. It feels tiny or very detailed, like something so small, you almost miss it, or something examined with great care. Bending. This word feels soft, gentle, or respect, like bowing to someone, being flexible, or showing humility. Connotation adds emotion and mood to our language, and understanding it helps us read between the lines, especially in poems and stories. Let's move on to choosing the correct antonyms. Remember, antonyms are words with opposite meanings. 1. Ascend. The correct antonym is descend. Ascend means to go up, and descend means to go down, opposite directions. To expand. The right answer is contract. To expand is to grow or stretch out, but to contract is to shrink or get smaller. 3. Conquer. We choose surrender. Conquer means to win or take over. Surrender means to give up, the opposite action. For surrender, here's a tricky one. Neither modern nor primitive are correct antonyms for surrender. The correct antonym should be something like conquer or resist. Words that mean standing firm, taking control. 5. Intense. The correct antonym is mild. Intense means very strong or extreme, while mild means gentle or not strong. Understanding antonyms helps us develop sharper word choices and makes reading more meaningful. Now let's continue with section V. In this part, we need to choose the word that best fits the meaning and tone of the sentence. 1. The sun sets, painting the sky in vivid colors, are a blank sight. The correct word is extraordinary because such beautiful and colorful sunsets are rare and special, not ordinary. 2. His patience seemed to blank as the wait became long. The correct answer is decrease because the longer he waited, the more frustrated he became, and his patience began to wear thin. 3. The river flowed gently, its current blank and serene. The word that fits best here is calm because a gentle, peaceful river is not rough or turbulent, for in the desert, the temperatures during the day can be blank, reaching over 100 degrees. The right word is extreme since desert heat can be intense and unbearable. 5. The politician's speech was filled with blank promises, but few were fulfilled. The best word choice is empty because the promises were not kept, making them meaningless. Let's now explore metaphors, a powerful tool used in poetry and storytelling. This section contains activities like complete the metaphor, create a metaphor and identify the metaphor in the sentence. Metaphors make language more colorful and expressive, and they're used a lot in poetry, especially in this chapter. Now let's dive into completing metaphors. Each of these comparisons creates a strong image by saying one thing is another. 1. Time is a. The correct answer is river. Time flows continuously, just like a river, always moving forward. 2. Laughter is the best. The correct word is medicine. Laughter is often compared to medicine because it can heal stress and lift our mood. 3. The classroom was a. The right answer is hive of buzzing bees. A noisy, active classroom can be just like a buzzing beehive, full of energy and sound. 4. His words were a. The correct choice is anchor in the storm of confusion. Just like an anchor keeps a ship steady in a storm, his words brought calm and clarity. Metaphors make language powerful by turning simple ideas into vivid mental pictures. Let's keep going. Let's now create our own metaphors. This helps us express feelings and ideas in a vivid, imaginative way. 1. Compare the feeling of disappointment to a popped balloon. Just like a balloon loses all its air in an instant, disappointment makes your excitement vanish suddenly. 2. Describe a successful team as a puzzle where every piece fits. Each member has a unique role, and together, they form a perfect, complete picture. 3. Portray the night sky as a velvet blanket of diamonds. The stars sparkle brightly against the dark sky, just like diamonds resting on soft, dark velvet. 4. Express the idea of courage using the metaphor of a bright light in the dark. When everything feels uncertain or scary, courage shines the way forward, like a guiding light. Metaphors help us feel what words alone can't always explain. The more creative we get, the stronger our expression becomes. Now let's practice identifying metaphors in real sentences. Remember, a metaphor compares to things directly to create a strong image or feeling. 1. The news spread like wildfire through the small town. The metaphor here is wildfire. It compares how quickly the news spread to how fast a wildfire moves, sudden and unstoppable. 2. Her voice music to his ears. The metaphor is music. It means her voice was sweet, comforting, and pleasant, just like a beautiful song. 3. The city never sleeps. The metaphor is sleeps. This gives the city human-like qualities, suggesting it's always busy, always alive, even at night. 4. Time is a thief stealing moments from our lives. For here is thief. Time is being compared to a thief because it takes away our moments silently and quickly. Spotting metaphors helps us uncover deeper meanings in both poetry and everyday language. Now let's move to page 70, and here is personification, a poetic device where non-living things are given human qualities. It helps us connect with nature, objects, and ideas in a more emotional way. Let's identify the personification in the next section. Let's now identify personification in each sentence. Remember, Personification means giving human qualities to things that aren't human. 1. The stars danced in the midnight sky. The personification here is danced. Stars can't really dance, but this helps us imagine them twinkling and moving in the night sky. 2. The wind whispered secrets through the tree. The word whispered is personification. It makes the wind feel alive, like it's softly speaking to the trees. 3. The sun smiled down on the beach. Here, smiled is the personification. The sun is described as friendly and warm, just like a smiling person. 4. Time marches on, never looking back. The word marches is personification. Time is shown as moving forward like a soldier, steady and unstoppable. Personification brings emotion and life to objects and ideas, and it's one of the most powerful tools poets use to create mood and imagery. Now it's time to get creative. Let's bring nature to life using personification, giving human actions and feelings to things in the world around us. 1. Give human qualities to the rain. Here's a lovely example. The rain danced on the roof and sang a soft song. It makes the rain feel joyful and gentle, like a performer on stage. To personify a mountain and describe its actions. The mountain stood tall, smiling at the rising sun. This shows the mountain as proud and peaceful, enjoying the new day. 3. Imagine a conversation between the moon and the stars. The moon said, "Let's light up the night," and the stars replied, "We're ready." This brings the night sky to life, as if the moon and stars are a team of friends. For depict her as if it has thoughts and feelings. The river ran quickly, excited to reach the sea. The river is filled with emotion, moving with joy, like a child running toward something wonderful. Let's now identify the personification in these sentences. 1. The old house groaned as if it were in pain. The personification is groan. The house is described as making a human sound, as though it's alive and suffering. 2. The flowers nodded in agreement with the gentle breeze. Here, the word nodded is personification. Flowers can't actually nod, but this seem alive and responsive to the breeze. 3. Fear knocked on the door, but courage answered. This sentence has two personifications. Fear knocked and courage answered. Turns emotions into people, showing a battle between fear and bravery in a creative way. For the camera captured the joy of the moment. The personification here is captured. Camera doesn't feel or understand joy, but this gives it the human ability to notice and preserve emotions. Through personification, even objects or emotions can become powerful characters in writing. Let's dive into some fun with alliteration. 1. Fill in the blanks with alliterative adjectives. 1. The exuberant eagle soared through the sky. Here, exuberant and eagle both begin with E. That's alliteration. 2. The whirling waves crashed against the shore. Whirling and waves both start with W, creating rhythm and imagery. 3. The tireless teacher patiently explained the lesson. Tireless and teacher both begin with T, adding a musical touch to the sentence. Now let's spot alliteration in full sentences. 2. Identify and underline the alliterative words. 1. 5 feisty felines frolicked in the garden. The alliterative words are 5 feisty felines frolicked, all start with the letter F. 2. The busy bees buzzed around the blooming flowers. The repeated B sound makes this sentence hum with movement. Busy bees buzzed. Alliteration makes writing more lively, catchy, and fun to read or listen to, and it's a favorite tool of poets and storytellers. Now let's explore an important grammar concept: transitive and intransitive verbs. A transitive verb needs an object to complete its meaning. In this section, you'll work on the few exercises. Let's begin with exercise 1, identifying the verb type. Let's practice identifying whether a verb is transitive, which means it has a direct object, or intransitive, which does not. 1. She ate the delicious cake. The verb ate is transitive, because it's followed by a direct object, the delicious cake. 2. The cat sat on the windowsill. Sat is intransitive. There's no direct object. On the windowsill is just a prepositional phrase. 3. He built a sandcastle on the beach. Built is transitive. The verb acts directly on a sandcastle. 4. The river flowed swiftly. Flowed is intransitive. It shows action, but has no object. Swiftly only describes how the river flowed. 5. The music played soft. Background. Played is intransitive. No object follows it. Softly is an adverb describing the action. 6. Sarah bought new dresses for the party. Bought is transitive. The action falls directly on new dresses. Understanding the difference between these two types of verbs helps build stronger, clearer sentences. Now let's identify the object in each sentence. Remember, the object receives the action of the verb. It tells us what or whom the verb is acting upon. 1. She read a book. The object is a book. It's the thing that was read. 2. The wind blew the leaves. The object is the leaves. That's what the wind blew. 3. He wrote a letter. The object is a letter. It's what he wrote. 4. They painted the fence blue. The object is the fence. It's what they painted. Every one of these sentences has a transitive verb, because there's a clear object receiving the action. Now let's create your own sentences, using both transitive and intransitive verbs. Watch how the verb changes based on whether it needs an object or not. 1. Write a sentence with a transitive verb. Example: she painted a beautiful picture. Here, painted is a transitive verb, and a beautiful picture is the object. 2. Write a sentence intransitive verb. Example: the baby cried loudly. The verb cried is intransitive, no object follows it. 3. Write an interrogative sentence using a transitive verb. Example: did you finish your homework? Finish is transitive, the object is your homework. 4. Write an interrogative sentence using an intransitive verb. Example: did she sleep well? Sleep is intransitive, it doesn't need an object to complete the meaning. Understanding how to build these sentences helps you recognize action and clarity in writing. Now, let's shift focus and look at prepositions that show movement or direction. We will look into fill in the blanks with the appropriate preposition, and also, in each sentence, we'll identify the preposition that tells us where something is going or how it's moving. Let's get started with the question. Let's fill in the blanks with the correct prepositions that describe movement or location. 1. She walked through the park to meet her friends. The word through shows movement across an area, from one side of the park to the other. 2. The cat jumped onto the table. Onto shows movement towards a surface. The cat is going from below to on top of the table. 3. The air flew above the clouds. Above means at a higher level. The plane is flying over the clouds. 4. They sailed around the island. Around shows a circular motion. They are going all the way around the island. 5. The hiker climbed up the mountain. Up indicates upward movement. The hiker is going higher. 6. The train travels through the tunnel. Again, through is used, this time to describe moving from one end of the tunnel to the other. Prepositions like these are small words, but they're powerful for describing action and direction. Let's finish identifying the correct prepositions in each sentence. 7. The ball rolled across the street. Cross is used here to show movement from one side of the street to the other. 8. He swam across the river to reach the other side. Once again, across shows movement through water from one bank to the opposite side. 9. The kids ran towards the school bus. Is used to indicate movement in the direction of the bus. 10. She placed the keys on the table. The word on tells us the keys are resting directly on the surface. 11. We walked through the forest and discovered a hidden lake. Through is used for moving inside and across a space. Here, the forest. 12. The river flows between the mountains. Between is perfect here. It refers to something located in the space that separates two things, like the two mountains. Learning these common prepositions helps you describe action, location, and direction clearly. And let's now choose the correct preposition of movement or direction for each sentence. 1. They walked the park. Options: through or beside. The correct answer is through. It shows movement from one side of the park to the other. 2. The birds flew the sky. Options: over or under. The correct choice is over. The birds are flying above the sky. 3. The car drove the tunnel. Options: through or into. We choose through. This describes moving from one end of the tunnel to the other. 4. He jumped the pool. Here, the best answer is into. It shows movement going inside something. Note, the correct option wasn't listed in the choices, but into fits the context best. Understanding these subtle differences helps you describe how something moves, whether it's over, through, or into a place. Now, let's practice transforming sentences from active voice to passive voice, and the other way around. We'll change the sentence structure while keeping the meaning the same. First, from active to passive, then from passive to active. Let's get started with the actual questions in this section. Let's now change each sentence from active voice to passive voice. In the passive voice, the object of the active sentence becomes the subject, and the verb is adjusted accordingly. Let's go through the examples. 1. The chef prepares a delicious meal. Passive: a delicious meal is prepared by the chef. 2. She will complete the assignment. Passive: the assignment will be completed by her. 3. Someone is painting the fence. Passive: the fence is being painted by someone, for they have cancelled the event. Passive: the event has been cancelled by them. 5. The students completed the project. Passive: the project was completed by the students. 6. The chef prepared a delicious meal. Passive, a delicious meal was prepared by the chef. 7. Gardener trims the bushes every week. And the passive is, the bushes are trimmed every week by the gardener. Understanding how to shift between active and passive voice helps improve clarity and variation in your writing. Now, let's convert the passive voice sentences into active voice. In active voice, the subject performs the action, making the sentence more direct and clear. Let's begin. 1. The cake was baked by Mary. And the active voice is, Mary baked the cake. 2. A new song is being sung by the choir. Active, the choir is singing a new song. 3. The report has been written by the manager. Active, the manager has written the report. 4. The cake was baked by Mary. Active, Mary baked the cake. 5. A new song is being sung by the choir. Active, the choir is singing a new song. 6. The report has been written by the manager. Active, the manager has written the report. 7. The door was opened by John. Active, John opened the door. This exercise helps in recognizing how sentence structure shifts when changing the focus from the action receiver to the action doer. 1. Identify whether the sentence is in active or passive voice. In this exercise, we determine whether the sentence is in active voice, where the subject performs the action, or passive voice, where the action is received by the subject. Let's identify each one. 1. The teacher explained the lesson. Voice, active. 2. A beautiful song was sung. Choir. Voice, passive. 3. They built a sand castle on the beach. Voice, active. For the mysterious novel was written by the author. Voice, passive. 5. Someone is painting the fence. Voice, active. 6. They have cancelled the event. Voice, active. 7. The letter has been written by Sarah. Voice, passive. Understanding how to recognize sentence voice helps us write with more control and variety. Ready to continue to the next part? Welcome to the summary of The Road Not Taken, a thought-provoking poem by Robert Frost. In this poem, the speaker stands at a fork in a forest path, faced with a decision between two roads. He must choose one, knowing he cannot travel both. He picks the one that seems less worn, though he later admits both looked equally used. The tone is thoughtful and reflective, and the poem encourages us to take responsibility for our paths in life, even when we can't see where they might lead. Let's move on to the next part of the lesson. Now let's lean the analysis of the poem The Road Not Taken. 1. Theme and central message. The poem is about making choices in life. The two roads represent different paths or decisions we face. The poet talks about how every decision shapes our future, and how some choices may lead us to unexpected but meaningful outcomes. 2. Key literary devices and emotions. Metaphor. The two roads represent life choices. Symbolism. The road, less traveled by, symbolizes a unique or difficult choice. Imagery. The yellow wood and untrodden leaves paint a vivid scene. Emotions. The poem expresses curiosity, uncertainty, and later, quiet reflection or regret. This deep and reflective poem reminds us that our choices define us, even the quiet ones we make alone. Let's continue with the next section. Now let's see 3 summary. In the first stanza, the speaker finds himself standing at a fork in a yellow forest, feeling a quiet regret that he can't travel both roads. In the second stanza, he chooses the second road, thinking it looks less worn and grassy. Third stanza, he realizes both paths are actually very similar, both covered in leaves that no one had stepped. He saves the first path for another day, though he doubts he'll ever come back. In the final stanza, he imagines himself in the distant future, reflecting that choosing the road less traveled, the path fewer people had taken, made all the difference in his life. For rhyme scheme and structure, the poem is made up of 4 stanzas, each containing 5 lines. These are called quintans. Follows a consistent above rhyme scheme, which means the first, third, and fourth lines rhyme, while the second and fifth lines rhyme. This gives the poem a steady, flowing rhythm that mirrors the reflective nature of the speaker's thought. Now here is the last part. 5. Tone and emotion. The tone of the poem is reflective and thoughtful. The speaker quietly looks back at a choice he once made, carrying a gentle sense of wonder and even a bit of regret. He understands that this one decision shaped his life, and yet, he'll never truly know where the other road might have led. That mystery adds depth to his 6. Final message. Through this simple yet powerful poem, Robert Frost encourages us to be brave when making decisions. Often, the path that seems less popular or more challenging may lead to growth, self-discovery, and a life that's truly our own. The choices we make define our journey, and sometimes, choosing the road less traveled really does make all the difference that marks the ending. I hope you found this video helpful and easy to understand. If you learned something new today, don't forget to like the video, share it with your classmates, subscribe to my channel for more educational content. See you in the next lesson.